Hello everyone and welcome back to Zaclit Educational channel. So this is a mini marathon for the revision, rapid revision for the UGC NET environmental science subject. So this is very important. Get ready with your notes. If you're not having notes also, no problem. We will just discuss the very frequently asked questions coming in the UGC NET environmental science paper through this mini marathon. So if you have forget something, you can remind and rewind all these things here. So let's start today's video. So here the first thing we'll be knowing the disease caused by different types of pollution, air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution. So number one is the disease which is caused by mercury poisoning is called as Minamata disease, or it is also called as the Chisso Minamata disease, which started in Minamata in Japan. Next is disease caused by the arsenic pollution. It is called as the Blackfoot disease. Next is disease caused by lead. It affects the kidney of the body, that is related to the kidney disease. And next is fluorosis. Fluorosis is the consumption of excessive fluoride in our body leads to fluorosis. So these things are always coming in the examination. I am repeatedly saying. So watch this video very carefully till the end. Next is asbestosis. So asbestos we all know. So the fibers from the asbestos, if we are inhaling them, then it is causing this chronic lung disease that is called as asbestosis. Next is nitrate. So I am just rapidly doing all this thing. Nitrate, it causes methemoglobinemia, which is called as blue baby syndrome, because the color of the baby turns into the blue color because of this. And most of you will be confused between methemoglobinemia and carboxyhemoglobinemia. So both are related to the disorder in the blood, and we will know through this table. You can see what is the cause of methemoglobinemia, that is the oxidative stress on congenital enzyme deficiency. We should always know that it is called mostly by the nitrate poisoning, that is methemoglobinemia. Carboxyhemoglobinemia, it is caused due to the inhalation of carbon monoxide. Yes, carbon monoxide is the main causal agent for the carboxyhemoglobinemia. What is the mechanism? This is also important. When the iron in the hemoglobin, which is present in our hemoglobin, the iron is oxidized to ferric state, not in ferrous, Fe2+. Instead of that, if it is oxidized in Fe3+ state, it forms the methemoglobinemia, which is having this formula METHB, that is the hemoglobin, Fe3+, that is the ferric state. So methemoglobinemia, this is the formula which is causing. It can be also cured with the help of vitamin C and other treatment. Next is carboxyhemoglobinemia, that is carbon monoxide. When it binds with the hemoglobin in our blood, it forms the COHB. CO means carbon monoxide. When it binds with hemoglobin, that is HB, it forms COHB, that is carboxyhemoglobin. So what happens is, if these things are formed, whether it is forming the methemoglobinemia or carboxyhemoglobinemia, what happens is, instead of carrying the oxygen, it is carrying the carbon monoxide in case of carboxyhemoglobinemia. And here, as it is Fe3+ state, it is also not able to carry the oxygen, bind the oxygen, which is blocking the oxygen to reach our lungs. In both the cases, the oxygen is not transported through the blood to the lungs. That's why it is having the problem to the heart and other parts of our body, not only lungs. So this is causing the disease. So in case of methemoglobinemia, that is caused by nitrate poisoning, it is blocking the oxygen binding thing. Here in case of carboxyhemoglobinemia, that is carbon monoxide is not binding with the oxygen, which prevents from the oxygen transport in the blood. So this is the difference between methemoglobinemia and carboxyhemoglobinemia. You should note down and remember this thing. Let's move on to the next very frequently asked concept. Next is the landfill stages. Yes, so when waste we are putting it into the landfill, what happens in this phase wise and what are the gases released? These questions are asked. Phase 1 is the initial adjustment phase, that is the aerobic phase, where oxygen is present. Aerobic decomposition occurs through the help of the bacteria and microbes. So here the nitrogen is having the maximum composition, that is 70 to 80%. Methane is negligible or it is almost close to 0%. Here methane is not released because it is an aerobic stage. So here oxygen we can find 2 to 10%, carbon dioxide 10 to 15%. First phase, that is the aerobic phase in the landfill stage. Next is phase 2, that is called as the transition phase or it is also called as the non-methanogenic anaerobic stage. It is anaerobic stage where oxygen start depleting. Anaerobic condition begins, microbial shift to anaerobes. So here aerobic bacteria are not performing the activities or decomposition. Anaerobic bacteria, without the help of oxygen, they are starting to degrade the disposed of waste. Next is the composition, which we should know, very important. Carbon dioxide 20 to 30% it has increased, hydrogen 5 to 20%, nitrogen decreasing in level, methane comes 0 to 5%, little bit of methane starts coming out. Next is, here we can say phase 3, that is acid phase, which is also called as acidogenesis. So acids are produced, anaerobic decomposition intensifies. So now anaerobic bacteria, they are coming into the power, organic acids are formed, carbon dioxide production increases, so hydrogen up to 20%, volatile organic compounds are released, methane 5 to 10%, carbon dioxide 40 to 60%. Here acids are produced, organic acids, that is, it is called as acidogenesis phase or acid phase, phase 3. Coming to the phase 4, methanogenesis, that is the stable phase, it is also called as. Genesis means production, so methanogenesis means here methane is released more, that is the maximum methane released in the landfill stage is in the phase 4. Methanogenic bacteria, they dominate, steady production of methane and carbon dioxide takes place. Here methane 45 to 60% of the total gas, carbon dioxide also 40 to 60% are released, nitrogen in trace amount, oxygen here it is almost 0% and hydrogen is less than 1%. Next is the final phase, phase 5, that is the final maturation. Again coming to the oxidation stage, it is called as oxidation phase also. Gas production decreases, oxygen re-enters the upper layer of the landfill, causing aerobic decomposition with the help of aerobes, that is the bacteria which are using oxygen for the decomposition. Methane level decreases, carbon dioxide level decreases, oxygen increases in the upper layers and nitrogen also increases in its level. So these are the 5 phases in the landfill stages, and the second phase is called as the transition phase, third phase acidogenesis or acid phase, fourth phase is very important, methane is maximum methanogenesis, fifth phase is the final maturation stage or oxidation because oxygen re-enters the upper layer. Let's move on to the next very important concept. Yes, this is important, sustainable development goals. 17 goals you should know in the sequence wise manner. I will just tell you. Number 1, no poverty. Number 2, zero hunger. Number 3, good health and well-being. Number 4 is quality education. Number 5, gender equality. Number 6, clean water and sanitation. Number 7, affordable and clean energy. Number 8, decent work and economic growth. Number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure. Number 10, reduced inequalities. Number 11, sustainable cities and community. Number 12, responsible consumption and production. Number 13, climate action. Number 14, life below water. Number 15, life on land. Number 16, peace, justice and strong institution. Final and the 17th number goal under SDG is partnership for the goals. So this can come in any form, any questions can be in the sequence manner, match the following, short answer. So this is very important, you should know in the sequence manner. Let's move on to the next very important frequently asked concept. So this is the thing which is seen in the last few sessions of the UG Senate Environmental Science regarding the albedo. What is albedo? Albedo is the fraction of light that is surface reflects. So for example, this is the sun. So the sunlight is coming into our atmosphere and it is on the surface of different surface. It can be desert, it can be snow, forest. So after hitting that, it is reflected back. So how much fraction or percentage of light is reflected by that surface is called as the albedo of that surface. I hope it is clear. And if it is all reflected, then the albedo is equal to 1. So you should note down, if all the lights are reflected, it is called as albedo is 1. If nothing is reflected, all is absorbed, the albedo is equal to 0. So here you should know how the albedo increases, 0 to 100% reflection or albedo. The least is water. Water absorbs all the light. Then slowly forest and wet dark soil, it is also having the little bit more albedo than the water. Then comes the meadows, crops, savanna forest, then desert. Then comes the dry soil. Here wet soil, then dry soil. Dry soil is having more albedo than the wet soil because wet soil is having the water percentage. Next is here, it is wet sand. Similarly, if you move up, dry sand is having more albedo than the wet sand. Ice is having less albedo than the snow. Don't get confused. Ice and snow are different. Snow also, fresh snow is having the most albedo than the old snow. Next is here stratus wise, cumulus stratus is having the most albedo, the maximum albedo than the alto stratus cirrus. Different types of clouds are given. So this is also showing the table where we can see the increase in the albedo from water to the fresh snow, which is having the maximum albedo around 70 to 80%. I hope you have noted down and you have learned here. Let's move on to the next important concept. This comes from the solid and hazardous waste management, how the waste is preferred. So here the treatment of waste varies. We can separate the waste, we can recycle or reuse the waste, we can treat the waste, we can reduce the waste at the source also. So the question comes, which is the least preferred waste treatment or waste management, which is the most preferred? So least preferred is the waste treatment. So no, we don't want to treat the waste because it is releasing the lot of harmful gases when the waste are treated. So treating waste to reduce its harmfulness after it has been created. The second preferred one from the waste treatment is the waste concentration. So concentrating waste to reduce its volume. We have to reduce the volume of the waste, that is called as the waste concentration. Next is waste separation. We can prefer waste separation from the waste concentration. That means separating different types of waste for proper disposal or recycling. Next, coming to the next preferred method of waste reduction or waste management, that is recycling or reusing the waste, reusing the materials or recycling them into new product. But the most preferred in the waste management is source reduction. So reducing the amount of waste created in the first place. So if you are not producing the waste, reducing the waste at the source size, then no need for recycling, separating, concentrating or treating. So that is the most preferred one. The first one is resource, that is source reduction, followed by recycling or use of waste, then waste separation, then waste concentration, and least preferred is waste treatment. I hope it is clear. Let's move on to the next important concept. Next is coming from the environmental geology, the stability of the minerals towards weathering, and which is having the slowest to fastest weathering. So this table we can see here, it is giving slowest weathering to fastest weathering. Which is having the slowest weathering, that means it is having the most stable nature of the mineral. Which is having fastest weathering, that means it is having the least stability. So it starts from hematite, that is iron oxide, then goes to gibbsite, aluminum hydroxide, quartz, clay of different varieties, muscovite, orthoclase or potassium feldspar, biotite, Na plagioclase, amphibole, pyroxene, Ca plagioclase, that is calcium plagioclase, olivine, calcite and halite. So halite is having the fastest weathering, that is the least stable, and hematite is having the most stability, that is the slowest weathering. So they can ask any sequence, they can ask 4 or 5 options from here. You should learn this thing, and this is also very important. Coming to the different types of disaster, yes, their sequence are also asked, their years are asked, the reason for the type of disasters are also asked. Let's start with the Love Canal disaster. This incident occurred in United States. Note down and remember, specifically in Niagara Falls, New York. It involved the toxic waste disposal and became a significant environment disaster in the 1970s. Next is Bhopal gas disaster or Bhopal gas tragedy, we also know. This disaster happened in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh in India in 1984. A pesticide plant leaked which gas? Methyl isocyanate. Sometimes it will be given methyl isocyanate. Don't get confused. It is methyl isocyanate gas, resulting in thousands of deaths and long-term health effects. Till now, the health effects are also found in the people, those who are affected in 1984. Here I have given the question mark. That means you have to do the connected revision. What is connected revision? That means from one concept we have to connect other concept for revision. For example, in 1984, this Bhopal gas tragedy happened. That's why our India gave in 1986 Environmental Protection Act. Yes, there came the Environmental Protection Act in 1986 because of this tragedy in order to reduce further tragedies in our country. So in that way, you can connect the revision and it is called as connected revision. Next is Chernobyl disaster, very important. In 1986, Chernobyl nuclear plant in Ukraine experienced a catastrophic nuclear reactor explosion. So these are different types of things. In Love Canal disaster, it was toxic waste disposal. In Bhopal gas tragedy, it was a pesticide leak. In Chernobyl disaster, it is a nuclear plant reactor explosion, releasing radioactive materials into the environment. It was in 1986. Year, place, reason, everything you have to remember. Next is Ivory Coast toxic waste dumping. It happened in 2006. Toxic waste was illegally dumped in Abidjan, Ivory Coast, causing widespread health issues and environmental contamination. Next is Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. This disaster occurred in Japan in 2011 when an earthquake and tsunami damaged the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant, which is in Japan, leading to nuclear meltdown and release of radioactive minerals. So here also you should remember here, this is different from these four disaster because here it is natural disaster. It is not man-made because it was taking place because of the earthquake and tsunami. Because of earthquake and tsunami, that nuclear plant was hit and it led to nuclear meltdown and release of radioactive materials. So it was not because of the human cause, it was because of their irresponsibility, it is because of the tsunami and earthquake. Sometimes it is also called, which is the not a man-made disaster, that is Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster. So these were some of the very important concepts repeatedly asked in the environment and science paper. So I hope you have been going through all these things. So all the very best for the examination. My best wishes are always with you. You will do well. Believe in yourself. I am having belief in each one of you. So give your 100%. See you guys in our next video. Till then, keep smiling and believe in yourself.